Welcome, everybody, to Catfish Weekly, presented by Whisker Wear Apparel, along with Chuck Davison and Doc Lang. I'm Lyle Stokes. Tonight, we're going to be discussing tournaments, tournament rules, things you can change, things you can't change. We're going to talk about what's took place over the weekend and just have a good time talking about catfishing. How's it going, Chuck?
Great, man. It's hot. It's almost 90 degrees here. Right here on the lake where I live, the boat traffic hasn't been as bad as it has been the previous years. But, the lake above us and the pool below us, they're really blowed out. I mean, at all times you can count 30 boats. So there's a lot of boat traffic. I hadn't even tried to put mine in the water this weekend. I've got every other weekend I can get out. There's no use in getting out and all this stuff.
Well, yeah, and if you're like we are, you got pleasure boaters and sailboaters and sea doers and all that stuff going on, and that's part of fishing lakes and rivers and stuff, and as long as they're courteous, everybody gets along fine. But every once in a while, you run into one of those guys that are not, and you just kind of got to deal with them and go on.
Yeah, most of the time it's the younger generations that where they're out here on these supercharged jet skis, and their family just says cut out, and they just get to get out there on the water and do what they please, and they're really unsafe. They haven't been, don't have the time on the water, and they're really not very courteous. They're just out there not thinking, just having a good time.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and kids will be kids, and they'll learn as they grow older, but a little bit of instructions from older family members will go a long way to how they behave and stuff. I know I've mentioned this before, but years ago, Cindy and I was fishing up on Truman on the Osage Arm one time, and a kid come around us, and we was actually just out of the channel, and he come up there where we was fishing, was doing circles around us on his sea-doo, thought it was really funny, and we rolled our stuff up, and he didn't realize that other boat we had would run like it did, and by the time he got back to the ramp, I was right on him, and he jumped out and run up to his dad, which come down there, and we had a little conference, nothing real major, but, just teaching them kids right from wrong and things you do and things you don't will go a long way with them, and some of them will never get it, but most of them do, and they're out there to have a good time on the water, and I'm all for that, but when somebody's trying to fish, you don't just agitate them. How's it going tonight, Doc? I see you're back with us. You're having a little issues with the internet, I suppose.
Yeah, there's something going on. I don't know how long I'm going to be here.
Well, we'll keep you as long as we can, and if something happens that we lose you, we'll just pick up and go on.
Okay.
How was your weekend, Doc?
It wasn't bad. Did a little bit of fishing. Didn't catch anything. Drowned a bunch of bait. So.
Well, I'm gonna tell you guys something that it was new to me, and I wanted to mention this because it was a pretty cool deal. Here, a week or two ago, and I'm looking for my note. I've lost my note. A week or two ago, I was talking with Bink Fox, and of course, Bink and I talk every once in a while, and he had some information for me. He had fished the area that we fished on the Mississippi River a few years ago, and was very familiar with what we had, and he knew that this area was going to be a channel cat tournament. Basically, there's flatheads in there, but no blues above the Keokuk Dam. And he told me, he recommended that I contact Jason Stanfield with Catfish Candy, and Jason has this business, Catfish Candy, and they're not a sponsor of me or the show or nothing else. But Bink told me, he said those shad guts those guys sell would be great to try in this tournament, because it was basically a channel cat tournament. And, I've heard about this stuff. I know Calvin Myers uses it, and some other guys use this stuff, and they was they have been excited over the years about where to get it and where to find it. And this guy goes up to, I believe it's Lake Erie. I'm not 100% sure, but it's one of the lakes on the Great Lakes. And he was telling me he gets these giant shad. And, of course, they sell the shad too, but he takes the guts out of them and they package them, they freeze them, and they ship them out frozen. And I had him send me some of this stuff because I wanted to try it, because I'd always heard how great a channel cat bait it was, and I'd never used any of this stuff, and I thought this would be the ideal time to try this, as predominantly we was going to be going after channel cat. So I got this box in the mail the other day, and it's probably a foot square, and inside this box is 1-inch insulation all the way around it, top, bottom, all the sides, and it had 4 of the freezable ice packs like you take in your lunch. It had 2 in the bottom and 2 on the top, and 4 of these tubs of shad guts, and then they put packing peanuts in there with them. Now, he sent this stuff out on Monday. I received it on Wednesday through FedEx. It was still frozen. This guy has a great product if you use shad guts for channel cat. I know that they're a great product. I know guys catch a lot of fish on these. This stuff was packaged so well, frozen hard, and it was still frozen hard when we got it. I actually I put it in the freezer when it got here, and Saturday morning when we got to that tournament, I had to pull it up out of the cooler and set it on the deck of the boat to get it to finish thawing out so we could actually use it. Now, I'm going to recommend that anybody that is interested in shad guts or any frozen shad products to contact Jason Stanfield with the Catfish Candy Company. He goes out of his way to make sure this is a premium quality bait for you to use. He'll freeze it the day they harvest it, and he will make sure that it's frozen when it gets to you. It's a very good product, and if you guys are using this stuff, I would recommend that you visit with him about using it. Now, I don't know if you guys either one have used this stuff or not, but I was impressed with the bait quality and the service that I got from Jason. Chuck, have you ever used any of it?
No, I haven't. You know, when I'm out on the river sometimes when I'm trying to get some unders in the boat, I'll actually, you know, put some shad guts on. Usually don't downside the hooks. I'll just downside the baits with some, you know, shad guts, and they seem to work very well.
Yep. Doc, have you ever used any of that stuff before? He must be froze up again. Janet sent me a message on Facebook, Chuck, and she says that Catfish Candy and Jason are sponsors of theirs. I was thrilled when they told me about this because, you know, a lot of times when we get bait, it's small bait. It's not shad, especially not nearly the size. I would have to cut and gut several of the baits that we get and we use to get guts to the amount of what they ship me. It was just a really great product, and it was very well packaged. Like I say, when you can get it 3 days after it's shipped and it's still frozen, the guy knows how to get that stuff to you through packaging. It was a really outstanding deal, and I was impressed with everything about dealing with him. So if you guys need some shad guts, or if you need frozen shad, if you're having trouble getting bait, the company is Catfish Candy, and the guy's name is Jason Stanfield. You can find him on Facebook. They have a website. They got all the stuff. Check them out. Tell him we sent you down there. He done an outstanding job for me, and I see no different with somebody else. So, Chuck, you didn't fish a tournament this weekend. You was out with your brother and his boat. Is that correct?
Yeah, he came by today, and we just I haven't been out in his new little fishing ski he bought for his family. And we designed him some rod holders. for the back where he won't have to drill no holes by using the seat post and some cleats. So he'll be catfishing out of it pretty soon. But I didn't get my boat in the water at all. I didn't put a line in the water this weekend.
Oh, okay. Well, just a boat ride sometimes is okay too.
Oh yeah,
There's
it's
nothing wrong
good.
with that.
No, just kick. This weekend was pretty much all about family and doing some catching up with Leanne. I've been working and running off these tournaments so much, we haven't spent very much time together. So I made it a point that these past couple of days, that me and her spend a lot of time together.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm sure she appreciates it. One other thing I want to mention before we get wound up going into the show is the other day we had Brad on the show talking about the catfish advocates, the Bay Catfish Advocate deal. Guys and gals, if you haven't had a chance to get on their site and fill out that form to help protect these fish, please take a few minutes and do so. These guys need your help so bad out there, and it only takes about 30 seconds to do this. So go to the Bay Catfish Advocates page. You can access it through Facebook. You can go to their website, complete the form on this, and fill that out and help these guys save that fishery. That is a wonderful place to go fishing. There's no reason for these guys to take that away from any of us. It only takes a minute. It is something that we all should do, and it just takes a second. So please take a few minutes and jump on there and help these guys out. We all are in the same boat. It doesn't matter if you're from Maryland or if you're from Virginia or if you're from Indiana or Ohio or Missouri. It makes no difference. When the catfishing community needs our help, we all got to jump in there and help them out. So please take a second and make that happen for us. Chuck, I want to go over a few things tonight with tournaments and rules and different things, and make sure that people understand what is expected when you go to these tournaments. A lot of people go to fish these tournaments, and for guys that think they're going to make a living out of fishing catfish tournaments, they're probably mistaken, because I don't know of anybody that makes a living fishing them. It's what it is it's a fun venue, and once in a while you'll hit a lick. We fish these because we enjoy the fishing. We fish these because we enjoy the competition factor, and it's a fun event for everybody. And when we go to these tournaments and things, these rules that are in place for these are set into effect, and they're the same for everybody. So it doesn't matter if you're over the limit on fish or if you're whatever the rule be, everybody has to abide by these. And I think that is something that's important. People need to be a lot more concerned about the quality of tournament directors. And there's only a few tournament directors that I refuse to fish their tournaments because they are not after it for the right reasons. But the guys of most 99 of them do it because they enjoy it. They do it because it's something that will help promote the sport and for all the right reason. But there is one or two that do it just for money. And one of the things that I have said for a long time is it costs so much money to do these tournaments that if the guy holding them breaks even, it's great. If he actually makes a couple of dollars on us, nobody should say anything about that, because unless you've done that job, you have no idea how much work, time, and effort money is put into it. So I don't have any problem with somebody making a few dollars doing it. I don't have any problem with them guys breaking even, but you can't expect a guy to lose money week after week after month and not at least try to make a couple bucks or break even. So one of the things that I am very concerned with, and I'm not sure how you guys feel about it, but there is hundreds of tournament clubs all over the United States. And one of the things that really bothers me has come up is memberships to these tournament clubs. Now, we fish in probably 6 to 8, maybe more states in tournaments a year. And if we had to pay a membership to every organization that's putting on tournaments, I wouldn't be able to do it. You just couldn't do it, even at $25 or $30, whatever the case is. If there's a membership fee, the membership fee should be for an organization that all of the clubs can belong to unify rules and things like that. A membership fee to fish a certain tournament group is just absolutely ridiculous, because we probably fish 10 or 15 different organizations, and if I had to spend $25 a year to each one of them so I could fish one or two of their tournaments, I couldn't do it. And that's why we have boycotted some of the tournaments for the last several years, is for stuff like that. That's just silly for these organizations to do that, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you know, a lot of these guys, they want to use it for a classic or a championship at the end of the year, so the anglers give it as a bonus, you know, so the anglers won't have to come out of pocket as much and have a bigger purse for that. But you know, a lot of guys can't fish, you know, every tournament of a trail or enough to even get into the classic. You know, the guys that are you know, fishing for points or fishing to get into the championship or classic, you know, it should be optional. You know, if you put it that way, for guys, you know, to do it. You know, if I drive up and I fish at you know, East Tennessee tournament, or if I go down and fish one of the Hilljack tournaments or something, and I'm only able to make one of their tournaments, and to fish that one tournament I have to pay a membership fee, you know, that's really a waste.
I agree. You know, and like I say, some of the bigger organizations have them. Some of the smaller organizations have memberships, and that's fine for their local people. But if I was to travel to Alabama to fish with you in a tournament, and I had to spend $25 to be a member of whatever club is holding that, I wouldn't come. I wouldn't care what the payout is, because I don't think it's fair. Like I say, if there's going to be a membership fee, then we need to organize a group like BASS or something like BASS, to where all the clubs can be a member of that organization, and you can unify the rules and everything be semi the same no matter where you go. And that organization should get a membership fee, and it should also be the members, the clubs should have to be members, and the entries, people that enter the tournament could be a member of that too. And then you could have a true national championship throughout the United States, instead of some guy just coming up and say, hey, I've been doing tournaments for years and this is going to be a national championship. Well, it's not. If you're not nationwide, if you don't include every group that fishes, then you're not a national championship. You're just calling it that, and it means nothing to anybody except you. And the reason it means something to you is because you're taking money and putting it in your pocket. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, some of these bigger clubs that have the memberships, the larger trails, I don't know if they use it for an administration fee or what, but you know, they have people that work in the office, and I believe a lot of that money may go to them. You know, but $25 a person. And I looked at one of the larger trails. They have it broke down on. They keep up with the points for everybody. I think last year they had like 500 different people fish their tournaments. You know, and everybody paid a $25 membership fee. You know, that's about $12,500. So that, you know, that ends up being, you know, a pretty good chunk of change for administrative fee.
Well, it does, and there, like I say, there's no reason to do that. It's just silly. There is the way it looks to me, and I don't have any way substantial to this. We run tournaments for years. We done it because we enjoyed it when it quit being fun, and we got Alex to do it, and Alex is doing a bang-up job, doing as good a job as anybody could ever ask for. But there would never be anything like that. It was never about making money for us. We done it because we wanted to see the sport grow. We wanted to have fun, and it got to the point where it was no longer fun because we couldn't run the tournaments and fish them both. And that was the reason behind it, because at the time there was only a limited amount of tournament trails in our area, and we had to go so far to fish some. So we decided to do that. Now there's tournaments everywhere, so we wouldn't have to do that. But there's a couple of tournaments this year that I really, really want to fish. And I have went to the point of filling out the paperwork to join and be a member of these things, and I can't myself do it. And I really want to fish 3 or 4 of these tournaments, and I just will not do it. There's some tournaments that would be pre-fishing for one of the big tournaments. They have tournaments in that area down there. I would love to go down there, even though the entry fees are extremely high for a local tournament. I would still do that, but I won't pay the membership fee to do it. And I can't believe that they would require that for people traveling those distances, only be down there 1 or 2 times a year. I just don't agree with that whatsoever.
Yeah, there's I know some guys, and we know one of them very well. They've been doing bass tournaments for years and getting into the catfishing here and there, but I don't think he has ever really made money on a tournament. He's pretty much gone in the hole doing this, trying to build his presence better, having better stages, having his guys wear, company shirts, to look real business-like. He's had $10,000 guaranteed giveaways at bass tournaments, and end up leaving with, $200 in his pocket after the weekend's over with.
That's exactly right.
And that right there was, pretty much what he put in the tank getting there. So
yeah.
Then you turn around and say, well, look how far bass has been ahead. And then the catfish guys expect, to fish these trails without, these tournament directors keeping any money. They want to see 100% payouts, and we can't even get that in bass fishing around here, much less catfish.
Well, one of the things that people don't understand when people say, "Oh, we're paying 100% payout," well, they don't know what goes into it. They have no idea how many people send money in. They don't know what the sponsorship amounts are, so there's no way you can say 100% payout. And I'm telling you, I've done tournaments for 9 years. It is extremely hard to spend that kind of time and effort for nothing. Now, we did it. We took all of our money, and out of the 20%, we paid for all the expenses for any advertising cost, if we needed printer paper to print flyers, whatever it was, that come out of that 20% money. Anything that we needed as far as tables, PA systems, which with the last one we had donated to us, but anything that you needed, scales, tubs to carry fish in, whatever you needed, come out of the 20% money. And at the end of the year, whatever was left, we bought year-end prizes with. And it worked out, and we had for several years, Dave Ashby would match with us or donate prizes to give out, and that worked out really good. Dave's a good guy. He supports a lot of tournament trails, but him, like anyone else, can only support so many. A lot of these guys that are supporting some of these tournament trails, these guys are on everybody all the time. They want you to support their trail, and believe me, everybody would love to do all of them. But there comes a point when you can only do so many, and it doesn't matter what business you are or who you are or how big you are. There comes a time when you can only do so much, and people have to understand that there is a limit to what can be done. But any prizes and stuff. There was some issues with a guy running tournaments several years ago. I was involved with this thing, and I know for a fact that it happened. You'd send them prizes out there, and you'd have other guys that ordered stuff from you, and they would say, well, just send it to this guy, and I'll pick it up. Well, people never got their stuff, and where is that at? It's probably at his house or at his boat or wherever it's at, and you got to pick honest tournament directors. These guys that claiming they're the biggest and the baddest, and they've been doing it for how many ever years, and they're having 10 or 15 boat entries. Well, there's a reason why that is, and those are the people that we need to stay away from. If the tournament director has a set of rules and he does not make each participant abide by them rules, it's a really good chance that people should stay away from that guy, because that's the kind of places where you get all this turmoil and crap going on that shouldn't be going on in tournaments, and things that makes the whole situation look bad. So that's, I don't go to them kind of guys. I don't fish their tournaments. I don't support them in any way, and if somebody asks me why, I tell them why. If they don't, I don't bring it up. But if the tournament director is not trustworthy, there's no reason to be fishing his tournaments. I don't care who it is.
Exactly.
Another thing is that I wanted to mention this, and I jotted a lot of this stuff down because I knew I'd never remember it. But when you sign an entry form to a tournament, you are agreeing that you are releasing that tournament and that organization and that person individually. You are releasing them from liability in case something happens to you. You also are agreeing that you know the rules, you've read the rules, and you agree to abide by them rules, no matter what the rule is. Most of the tournaments that we fish have a rule in them for no alcohol or illegal substances being used, and the guys that are using lie detector tests to determine the top how many ever boats, that should be the number one question asked on that lie detector test. The number one question. If they're doing anything illegal, if they're breaking any rules, if they're using any alcohol or illegal substances, the number one question should be asked on those on the lie detector tests. And these guys are that complain about rules and stuff. I just want to go over a couple of things here. A few years ago, we was in a tournament, and the weigh-in was 106 degrees at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at weigh-in. And a friend of mine come in. He had 2 small fish in the boat. They wasn't really small, but they wasn't winning fish. He knew they wasn't winning fish. He brings those in to weigh in, and his live well pump had quit, or it had run out of water, whatever the case may be. He lost his 2 fish. He come in and disqualified himself because he knew the rule said no dead fish would be weighed, and tried for a long time to find somebody to give those fish to so they would go to waste. He knew what the rule said. He done the right thing. That's what everybody should do. Doug, another friend of mine, and everybody knows Doug. He come in one time and was in a weigh-in line. When he opened his box, he didn't cull enough fish. He had 1 fish over the limit. He disqualified himself in the entry weigh-in line, because he had broken a rule, even accident. He shouldn't have done it. He just miscounted his fish. He disqualified him and his partner right there, and that is the way you take care of that issue. You know you've made a mistake. You just fess up to it and go on. And he had gained the respect from everybody that knows him for doing that the right way. It just, that's the way it's supposed to be. If you got too many fish in a live well, you know you're over. Last year, we was in a tournament in St. Louis, and a friend of mine, boat broke down. He broke down at the confluence of the Missouri and the Mississippi River. And we was in our tracker with a small boat motor, and we wasn't going to be in the money in that tournament. This guy had a legitimate chance of winning the tournament and a legitimate chance of big fish in that tournament. We hooked onto him and started pulling him to the ramp as fast as I could get him there. We got him there 2 minutes late. He didn't get to weigh his fish. I felt worse about it probably than he did, but the rules say you have to be there at 3 o'clock. If you're at 3:01, you're late. So it doesn't matter what the reason is that you're late. If you're late, you can't weigh fish. And I do believe that every tournament has a rule similar to that in them. So when somebody says, well, they need to amend the rules because the wind picked up or whatever, it's the same for everybody. It's the same for everybody. You know what time you got to be there. If the wind's bad or if your boat breaks, you make arrangements to get in the best way you can. You can't. Once a tournament starts, fellas, you can't change those rules because something has happened. The rules are the same. It doesn't matter if there's 40 boats or if there's 400 boats. You can't, in the middle of a tournament, change the rules because somebody made a mistake and didn't get back in time. It just don't work that way. That's just the way it is. So I don't understand that. It's just silly. And Seth, the reason for the $25 that I object to that is because we fished too many different tournament series, and I'm not going to pay a tournament fee, $25 membership fee, to Cabela's and Bass Pro and to Alex's tournament and to Brad Kilpatrick's tournament and to George Jones, whoever it is. I would be broke trying to pay all the membership fees. If it's I don't care if it's $5. I'm not going to do it. It's just that simple. There's no reason to have a membership fee to a tournament organization. Nobody done it for years, and all of a sudden some of these guys want to put extra money in their pocket, and it's just crazy. There's no, I'm not going to do it, you know. And if it was, like I say, if it was an organization that covered all of the tournament series and all of them tournaments was a member of that organization, I would do that. But I'm not going to pay $25 to each different tournament series that we fish. We just fish too many of them, and I'm not going to do it. It's just that simple. That's just ludicrous. I can't imagine why anybody would disagree with that, because by the time you get done, you're a member of 10 or 12, 15 different organizations, and if each one of them charge you $25, that's $250 you could have spent gas to get to the tournament. So that's not for me. Let's see, where we at here? Church tackle planer boards. Yesterday, was it yesterday? No, Saturday. We was out on the Mississippi River in some fairly decent current. It wasn't really bad, but it was bad enough. But the walleye board, I believe it's a TX22. Didn't we discuss that, Chuck?
Yeah, I looked them up a while ago. The TX22 and the one that says walleye, they cost the same, but I don't know the difference in them. So they may be two different boards. One's like $3 difference.
Yeah, we was using big chunks, body sections of big shad. We used big head sections of shad and 6-ounce weights. And that planer board was perfectly visible no matter how far out you took it. It didn't make any difference. You could see it. Without the flag, I never raised a flag on one. They work extremely well. We talked about that a few shows back. If you guys are interested, and that was not the big board, the TX44. We didn't put it out yesterday or Saturday. We did not use it. So there's no question in my mind that if you're in heavy current and you're dragging baits or you're on a current situation, to have 16 ounces or so in a big chunk of cut bait, it would be fine to use that. You would have no problems. Vince just sent us a message on the chat that the current update on the Bay Advocates forums The Bay Advocate Catfish people have signed up is up to 391. They need 500. So you guys get a chance. Go ahead and jump in there. That's we need to get that done.
Yeah, if everybody would go to the Bay Catfish Advocate page, go look up the form. There's a couple of posts that has it, and share a couple of those posts and explain what it's for. So all of your friends will know what it's for and how much it means. Then they will go spend 30 seconds to fill it out, and it will make a huge difference. I mean, it may come down to 5, you know, and at the last minute, you just can't say, wow, I wish I would have did that. I mean, it's too late then.
Well, I'm sure Vince will let us know, and he had told me, but they're down to just a few days of getting this done. So we really need to get that put together to get everybody signed up on that. They're down to a few days or a few weeks. There's not much time left. They need 500 people signing that in the next 2 weeks. It's at 391. So come on, guys, jump in there and make this happen for them guys. I wish Doc wasn't having so much problem staying online. He's really fighting it. He's in and he's out, and he's struggling with his internet service tonight. But that goes on from time to time, and we'll just have to make it happen. But we'll get him in there, and hopefully he get things lined out to where he can be on the show for his tips and tricks later on tonight, and we can get all that done. Well, what have you got tonight you want to talk about, Chuck?
You know, mostly I was wanting to go over the Bay Catfish Advocate. You know, make sure everybody understood it if they wasn't airing the show that we had a couple of weeks ago. You know, that's very important, and it's coming down to it. We don't have very long, a couple of weeks. And, you know, and everybody needs to get on it. The sooner the better. They're hauling truckloads of catfish out of there as we speak. You know, and that fishery has got to be stopped of these acts, or it's going to be wiped out really quick.
That's exactly right, and the thing that blows my mind about that is the fact that they're allowing these guys take them out by any means, electric shocking and nets and gill nets, and well, like I said the other day on the show, gill nets will get every kind of fish that's in that water. And the way they work is the fish swim through them squares in that net, and they get hung in a gill. Anytime you mess with a fish's gills, you're messing with the way it gets its oxygen. It's probably not going to survive. So if you think that that's the way to get rid of the catfish, consider the fact that all your stripers and all your other gill fish, which is every fish, everyone that gets in that net's probably going to die, whether it has anything to do with their trying to catch catfish or not. So they need to really get on that and get that stopped. That's just, like I said, it's just crazy to try to do so. I don't know what them people out there are thinking, but they're not. They're not thinking.
Yeah, on this, you know, all the tournament directors getting together and trying to get, you know, some joint rules, because there's a lot of guys that start now, and it's very confusing. You know, when you read these rules that everybody says, well, it's almost like everybody else's, almost isn't good enough. The stuff that's different is, you know, stuff that should be the same. I know a lot of places have different, you know, krill limits, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, we've got to get the basics down and have them the same all over. You know, it's going to be very important. You know, bass fishing don't have, when you go to these bass tournaments, you know what the rules are when you show up. Everybody's the same.
Right.
You know, catfishing don't need to exactly follow and model after bass, but they do need a set of standard rules, you know, for everybody.
That's exactly right. one of the things that people have forgotten is that when BASS started back in the 70s, they had a bunch of really quality people set up all their paperwork and all their rules and stuff, and they got all this put into place, and it's been going for 50 years. They've got it down to a science. They've done a really good job of doing it, and we are behind that much technology that they got up there. Now, if we could get something like that put together, and several of us has tried a couple of different times to do this, and we can't get the support because it takes money, and it just does. But until there is an organization similar to that for catfishing, this crap like this, adding these membership fees to each different organization is going to keep growing, and there's no reason for that. And you need a standardized set of rules. I would love to see, whether it is in their area or not, I would love to see every tournament director say, hey, we're going to support the 34-inch rule, and you can have 2 over and the rest under if you have 3 fish limit or if you have a 5 fish limit. Even if those rules aren't affecting your state, I would love to see the tournament directors come together and say, this is the right thing to do. We need to put this in effect to help the tournaments. Now, I'm very avid with the Missouri Department of Conservation. They drag their feet worse than anything I know. They know that Missouri, on our rivers, we need that 34-inch rule. They put it in effect on Truman Lake and Lake Ozark. It's a great thing. In 10 years, we're going to have some of the best fishing there will be on those 2 lakes, but they're killing the others. If they would put that 34-inch rule, 2 over and the rest under, if they would have on those lakes in the Mississippi and the Missouri River, in 10 years, it would be unbelievable. And it would stop a lot of these guys going out and spending their time and money going after these big fish to sell to these pay lakes and stuff, because you can't spend that kind of money for 2 fish a day. You just can't do it. The guys in the southwest Missouri area that say, well, we got to have them trot lines and we got to catch all them big fish to feed our family, then go get you a job. Every McDonald's I go by has got to help one at a time. If you need to feed your family, go get you a job. It's a lot cheaper to buy groceries than it is to buy a boat and gas and insurance and license and fishing rods and all the stuff it takes to catch them fish. It's cheaper just go to the grocery store and buy the stuff. So that's a poor excuse. That's just terrible.
Yeah, there's no, that's just people trying to, to come up with an excuse. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, it is.
These guys have got to start. I'm waiting, on some type of an elite series or something to come out within catfishing. That right there is when everything would change. It would only take some type of series with a 50 boat limit, and I'm sure there's 50 guys within a certain region that could make 8 tournaments and a championship to actually do something. And when something like that finally happens, I think it's going to be a huge deal. That's when sponsors are going to jump on board. That's when things are really going to start happening.
That's exactly right. You there, Chuck? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Some guy kicked me off for some reason.
Huh.
I'm on there twice now.
We're having some difficulties tonight, but we're gonna make it work. Seth, you're right about the boards. You can back bounce with those. You can drag baits. One of the things that I think is going to be so great about that, about these planer boards, is dragging baits on lakes and areas on the Ohio River, when we go to some of the tournaments, there's never any current or no current for what I'm used to. And you could drag baits either down the river or if you wanted up the river and use them boards. And the thing that I like about them as much as anything is for us for years we've been bouncing and dragging baits and stuff, and I've always put 10-footers out the side and ones out the corner and then the ones down the back if we wasn't bouncing. If we was bouncing, of course you're bouncing down through the back. But with the planer boards, you don't have to use those long rods. Cindy can't get those out of the rod holders, and I'm sure that Laura probably has the same issue. But if you can use a 6 or 7 or an 8-foot rod, whatever you want to do, and put that planer, and you can get it at the bait further out to the side, make your spread so much larger than you can with a 10-foot rod. They're a great tool. A lot of people are going to be using them, and it does. You're right. It does work very well. Seth also says that his standard setup was 2 to 4 boards, 2 back bouncing hand rods, or 2 boards, 2 hand bouncing poles, and 2 verticals off the side, which is basically the same thing. But like Doc and I and Chuck was talking last week, one of the things that the churches has is that stern planer, which keeps it straight. You can put 2 of them straight out behind there, and they work out really, really well. And boys, I'm sorry, you guys, Vince and Greg and some of you guys, you're going so fast with these messages in chat. I'm going to have to try to catch up with them and see what all I've missed, because I just I couldn't keep up with everything. Chuck, you got anything else you want to go over tonight?
No, not tonight. I'm good for tonight.
Okay. I'm trying to run through some of this stuff right quick. I know that I'm going to miss some of it because they was talking about the Bay Cat Advocate stuff, and I didn't catch all of that.
You guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we hear you.
Hang on, man.
Jerry, that's a great name. The Elite Nationwide Series would be an awesome name if we could get enough of this put together. We actually worked on this before the Catfish Conference. Since we got back from the Catfish Conference, I've added and directed. I have the paperwork drawn up to what would be a deal similar to that. It would be an outstanding organization, but I'd have to get a lot of participation. Some of the big names in catfishing that was really wound up about this was very serious about it. Since then, I've sent them messages. None of them seem to want to reply back, so I'm not sure where we're going to go with this, but it's something that at some point it's either going to take place or it's going to fall apart, and that's just the way it is. Yeah, Seth, I understand that if you're dragging bait and the current speed, if you're going down the current speed, they won't go out. That's exactly right. But in the current on the river, or when you're dragging bait and making your own current, they work really, really well. So is Doc in or is he out?
Well, I'm in on my phone. I couldn't get the computer to come online. So
we'll take it that way. I'm not sure how much of what we've been talking about that you've been up to speed on, but if you have anything to add to what we've been talking about as far as rules and people abiding by them and them being the same for everybody or anything like that, feel free to jump in there at any time.
Yeah, I missed everything. So.
Yeah, I thought you probably did, but Seth McAllister is in our chat, and him and I have been discussing some of the do's and things that work out really good with the planer boards, and you know, they're a wonderful tool. I know you're very familiar with them, probably as much so as any of us, and it's really awesome. I'm excited about the way these things work out. I really am, and the fact that they're so easy to use and stuff is just really cool. But you've been using them for a long time, haven't you, Doc?
Oh yeah, 20 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I fished the lakes, and then I started fishing when I was fishing the river years ago. I was just using them to get spreads so that the lines wouldn't get all tangled up behind the boat.
That's exactly right. It's just wonderful, and like I say, for drifting, they're going to work out. They're going to work out for anything that you do that has to do with catfishing. And one of the things that I was impressed with these boards is you can cast your line out and let it get down to the bottom, and then set your board out at that point and let it take it out as far as you want to go, and it'll hold your bait out that far. You don't have to just drop it over the side. You don't have to worry about how deep the water is and how to set your board, because it'll hold it out there at that distance while you're doing it. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure how much other stuff we need to go on. I just, I thought that we needed to go over some of these rules and stuff and talk about these tournament directors. We have some of the greatest people in catfishing running a lot of these tournaments, and they're doing a really good job. There's only a few bad apples, and like I say, when you run into these people that are not doing it the way it should be done, or at least the way you don't feel it should be done, then just don't support them. And if enough people quit supporting those kind of people, then they'll be gone, and we won't have to worry about them. We'll have all the good stuff. It's just the way it is, and support the good guys. The guys are doing it right. The guys that are making the rules and sticking with them and making sure that everybody is on the same playing field. Like I said at the beginning of the show, fellas, if you think that you're going to get rich fishing catfish tournaments, you probably ought to look into something else for a hobby, because I don't know of anybody that makes a living catfishing except a few of the guides. They make their living catfishing. That makes them a professional at it. The rest of us, we're not making a living catfishing, probably never will be able to, but it doesn't make it any less fun. It's a blast. It's one of the most fun things I've ever participated in, but I don't expect to make money off of catfishing. I love the competition, and I know, Chuck, I know you do. You wouldn't fish all them tournaments if it wasn't for the competition level, and the competition level you got's pretty high.
Right. Yeah, it makes you a better fisher.
It absolutely does, and Doc has competed in tournaments for, my God, I don't know how many years, ever since I've known him.
Bunch. 19...
a bunch.
I hate to say it, but 1990s.
1990s? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long time. And,
yeah.
It's about, you got to hit a lick once in a while. You got to get into money. You got a place to keep your interest peaked. And not only that, but it helps offset some of the costs that you incur going to these tournaments. But if you think you're going to make a living at it, it's catfishing's not to that point yet. Now, when George Young gets his tournament going this fall, when we all end up down there in Memphis at that big tournament, the guy that hits that's going to hit, what is it, 14,000 now, Chuck?
Minimum.
Doc?
Yes, minimum.
Minimum,
14.
right. The minimum is right around 14 grand. That's a pretty good payday for somebody. But I'm going to tell you, one of the things that I'm as happy about, and I believe this has the same thing at Monsters on the Ohio, is when you fish those tournaments, you get in a drawing for a new boat. Who wouldn't want to win a new boat? I mean, that tracker that they're going to give away down there is an outstanding boat. Sea Ark has given away one for Aaron the last how many years? 2, 3?
2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, and you get entered in that stuff from entering these tournaments. These guys are going the extra mile to get the type of sponsors it takes, and it's not easy to get these kind of people in these tournaments to support them. It's not. I mean, none of these companies have to give that kind of prize away to be donated to a tournament series. It takes somebody that they trust and know that's going to be doing it right. You don't see too many of the others getting that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I would love to win a boat. If I didn't win the tournament, I think I ought to win the boat. I don't know. Don't you, Chuck?
That's right.
Yeah, if you're not going to win the tournament, just pull my name out of the hat. I'll take the boat and be just as happy.
Oh yeah.
So, well, do you have any closing statements tonight, Chuck?
I sure don't. No,
Okay.
the catfish are about. I think the spawn's on pretty good. So the next few weeks, it's just going to be, getting equipment ready and all that for the other half of the season.
Okay. Well, it's just starting up here, so I know we got it coming on. But, there's some guys catching some pretty nice flathead now, so they'll come on after the spawn for those usually is after the blues and channel cats, so maybe we can get out and knock some of them out. Doc, what have you got for closing statements? You got any of the tournament stuff in your area?
No, there wasn't much happening this weekend. Vince had one. Willie and Stacy Smith won that, and Brian Johnson came in second. And then Willie and Stacy.
I know that was that was thrown together last-minute deal.
Yeah, it was just a last-second thing because that one tournament had been canceled. But it was a beautiful night. I mean, we just the only time I had a rod go down was when I hung the tree. And I just drowned bait. But Daniel, he was happy. That was the first tournament we fished out of his boat. So we kind of, it was more a shakedown cruise than anything, making sure everything. He didn't get to fill his live well up, test it out with actual fish in it. He did it in practice on CJ, but he didn't get to do it there on Rocky Fork. But we had a good time. I mean, we enjoyed ourselves. It was a beautiful night.
Well, that's outstanding. You guys had a good time. That's why you go to most of those. So
yeah,
that's why we do it.
It's a lot of fun going there and watching. Willie's tough. It doesn't matter where he fishes at. He is just one tough guy. And he told me, he said, he caught all his fish in this one little area, and he said, I just kept dragging over top of it. And he said, I picked one up here and there. So
heck yeah.
He worked it hard. So,
well, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do.
I had a good time, but my tip for tonight is I know the spawn it's starting to come on, but now we're starting to see some heat during the day, a lot of sunlight. Those of us that still use monofilament, make sure that you guys that do use monofilament, your spare line, make sure you keep it covered up, keep it in a cool, dry place away from the sunlight. That sunlight will really hammer that monofilament. It'll make it brittle. And if you are out there fishing a lot during the daytime, it wouldn't be a bad idea to, every couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, when that line's been sitting in that sun, is go ahead and just change it out, because it will make it brittle while it's out there. And that's Doc's tip of the night.
That's a great tip, and monofilament is probably affected way more by sunlight and stuff than braid ever will be. But
right.
braid's not for everybody, and there's things it's good for, but it's hard to replace something that's been around as long as monofilament is 100%.
Yeah, and I'm old school. I've used monofilament my whole life, and I like monofilament just for the fact that it stretches. Now when I get it hung up, it's kind of tough to get off, but get it to break, it wants to stretch. So
I understand. Well, that's a great tip. All right, thanks for that. I wanted to mention that Twisted Cat Outdoors had a tournament at Nauvoo, Illinois over the weekend. Matt Marshall won the $500 Sea Arc drawing money. Now, fellas, when you come to fish one of these Twisted Cat Outdoor tournaments, if you are in a Sea Arc, it doesn't matter if you catch fish or not. If you enter the tournament, you are put into a random drawing. They will pull a name out of the hat for all of the Sea Arc owners that are in the tournament. Matt showed up, and he caught some fish. He didn't get in. He didn't get in the money in the tournament, but he won $500 because he was in the Sea Arc drawing. So bear that in mind if you're in the area.
Wow.
Fish at Twisted Cat Outdoor. Sir? Hello? The winner of that tournament, the winners of the Twisted Cat Outdoors tournament, was Mark Farrell and Joe Lucky. They won $1,507. They had a big flathead of 23.62 pounds, paid them $350. If I remember correctly, here it is, 72.3 pounds for a total, and then the big fish is 23. They had some great fish for that far up the Mississippi River. When we go up there, I don't worry about flatheads. Usually I figure it's a channel cat tournament. They put it on them, and if I remember correctly, that is the second year in a row they have won that tournament up there. Outstanding job to Mark and Joe. You guys are awesome. Thanks for coming to the tournament. Ron King, John King, and Craig Simler, second place, $670, 43.45 pounds. Kyle Johnson, Tim, and Hayden Gunther, $502, 36.25 pounds. Quentin Ingram and Chris Augustine, $402 for fourth place, 32.58 pounds. And fifth place was Bobby Lee and Zach Sharp, $267. And this tournament had enough entries, it paid six places. Cliff Miller and Josh Swan. Now, these boys are tough. They don't get out a lot away from that area. $100 for sixth place, 28.82 pounds. But I see these guys out, and they are right there. They're tough competitors, and I'm glad to see them make the show. But yeah, that was an outstanding tournament. Alex does a wonderful job running them tournaments, and you guys get a chance, you need to come over there and to our area and fish the Mississippi and jump in there and get them. I don't have any information for any other tournaments coming up other than this weekend is the weekend for the tournament in Quincy, Illinois for our soldiers. If you guys get a chance, you need to come up there and fish this. It is really, really important that we get as many people to show up to this as we possibly can. I'm trying to find, I forgot the name of it. I get too many people sending messages to too many venues right now. I can't keep them up with them. But Fishing for Freedom, Quincy, Illinois. It'll start out Thursday. They have trap shoots and all kinds of stuff, and then Friday they have their dinner for the service guys and everybody involved in it, and then the tournament is Saturday or Sunday. So you guys come out, and if you get a chance, jump out there. If you fish for bass, if you fish for crappie, if you fish for catfish, they can always use an extra boater. If you get a chance, be sure and help them out with that. But with that, I think that'll probably end the show for this evening. We'll try to get all of our internet stuff lined out for next week and make it happen. But go out and catch some fish this week before they all get on the spawn, everybody. For Chuck Davison and Doc Lang, I'm Lyle Stokes. Thanks for watching Catfish Weekly.